All right, back on the Young Turks. We have a bit of an apocalyptic scene here in LA. What is it with the wind today?
I know, it's really loud and scary.
Like it's just sometimes it happens. You know, there's something wrong going on here. I want to point out there's something wrong. In LA, it almost never rains. This year, it's rain and rain and rain.
The weather in Los Angeles has been terrible this year. I remember this time last year, I was wearing sundresses every day.
Sundresses. Instead, look at this.
What is this?
A huge, thick sweater. What's going on here? Okay. I don't care what Dave says. It's global warming. That's what's happening. Winds, rain, doesn't make any sense. Oil spills. Okay. Second point on clothing today. I've got to stop wearing this jacket, and I figured out halfway through the show why.
Why?
Okay, the arms are too short, so I've got the sleeve problem again. See this?
Which is unfortunate, because that's a nice jacket.
Oh, you like this jacket? Yeah. See, this is an old school jacket. It's also a little small, so I'm like, and this is my least favorite shirt. All right, now, having said all that, we can move forward. Okay, now, first of all, the third hour is fantastic. I've been looking forward to it all day. Second of all, we have the story of the day, the indisputable story of the day that we're going to start with.
Yes, and it is a parking ticket story, okay? So a leaked police memo indicates that officers in Oakland, California were advised to avoid giving parking tickets to people who live in wealthy areas, but continue giving parking tickets to those who live in poorer areas. To be specific, those who lived in Montclair and Broadway Terrace would get a courtesy warning if they were parked illegally. However, everyone else who lived in a poorer neighborhood was not given a courtesy notice. They were given a ticket.
Now, when I started reading this story, I thought, oh, this can't be true. This is terrible, right? But it turns out, no, absolutely. There's parking officers who are rebelling, saying, hey, wait a minute. I mean, this is going to hit blacks and Latinos and minority areas a lot more in Oakland because you're totally omitting, the higher end places, and you're hitting the areas where there are more minorities that live. The other thing that enrages me is, so the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yes, absolutely. Look, this is the never-ending story in the United States. We see this story over and over again, and this irritates me beyond belief. And look, there's another part of the story that's very irritating. It talks about the economic downturn and what San Francisco decided to do to combat this issue, okay? They decided, okay, we need revenue, we're desperate for revenue, so what we're going to do is we are going to increase parking fines, meter rates, hours of enforcement, and enforcement in neighborhoods. So basically, let's try to give out as many tickets as we can to help this issue that we're having with the economy.
Except, who are those tickets going to hit? They're going to hit the same people that are having troubles because of the bad economy.
Right.
And if that weren't bad enough in general, they specifically say, leave the rich people alone. Only hit the poor people who are suffering the most and raise money from them. I mean, look, that's the underlying problem in the country. I mean, this is a fascinating example of it for parking tickets in Oakland. But that's the problem. I mean, to the point, it also drives me crazy that it says courtesy notices for the rich people. They're like, oh, yes, well, you've parked illegally. Obviously, you don't have to pay a fine. You're rich. You already have money. No, we wouldn't, of course, take. But let us give you a courtesy notice. If you live in a poor or middle-class neighborhood, when's the last time they gave you a courtesy notice? Right? No, they give you a ticket and then say, all right, now you pay it, and we're going to run the government based on the revenue we raise off the poorest and also the middle-class people in that particular city. And it happens all throughout the country. I mean, look at what happened with the banks, right? They took money from us, the taxpayers, and gave it to the richest guys in the country, who are the ones that caused the crash in the first place. So,
and by the way,
it's enraging.
And we're complaining about our $50, $55 parking tickets. These parking tickets that these people have to pay are insane, okay? They range between $40 to $100.
And here's the other part. Apparently, this was not being enforced all throughout, right, in Oakland. So, for example, they'd park on the sidewalk, but then some of the streets are so narrow, the emergency vehicles can't get past if you don't park on the sidewalk. And they'd never gotten a ticket for that. All of a sudden, they're like, all right, time to raise money from the poor. Go ticket all of them for things that they've always done, okay? And so then they get hit with things they couldn't have possibly expected for doing the same thing that they used to do before. And the final problem with this, among many, is that you see that, of course, the police do and the government does selective enforcement. You know, if you're already powerful and connected, all of a sudden the laws don't quite apply to you. They don't get enforced as much. If you're not, well, it's easy to crush you, so we're going to enforce the laws on you. This is exactly what's wrong with the country. And in a democracy, we shouldn't accept this in any way, shape, or form. Everybody responsible for this should get their ass thrown out of office and never reelected.
Right.
Now, the problem is, of course, the people with the money are the ones that finance their campaigns, and et cetera. So, look, if you're in Oakland, you got to wise up, man, and you got to figure out who these people are, and you got to kick them out of office. It's not even an open question.
And I love that this story got leaked by police officers. Okay, police officers doing the right thing.
Yeah, or in this case, parking officers.
Parking officers, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and look, because sometimes I think, when I get a parking ticket, the parking officers are like the most heartless people in the world, like including the people that, they're like the people who tow other people's trucks or cars, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, just get another job. I mean, Jesus, every day you're ripping somebody's guts out, right? And now it's easy to say get another job. It's very difficult, right? But this gives me faith in them. It turns out they're not heartless. And in fact, in this case, they're looking out for you.
It's rare.
You know why? Yeah, but you know why? Because they live in those neighborhoods. The parking officer doesn't live in Montclair. They don't live in Broadway Terrace. Mm-hmm. They're like, what the hell? What kind of bullshit is this? So that's why. All right.
All right, another parking-related story. We have the worst parker in the world.
This is nothing short of park fail.
Yes.
Okay, and it's as epic a fail as you can get in regards to parking.
Right. By the way, the first time I saw this story, Rick Sanchez was talking about it on CNN, and he called it the photo of the day.
The photo of the day.
He has the photo of the day.
That's fascinating. Now, hold on. Now, I'm a terrible parker. And my wife as well.
We know that, yeah.
I'm world-renowned, okay? Just ask JR, I've hit his car in the parking lot. But I've hit many cars in parking lots. I once, legendarily, hit 3 cars at once in a parking lot, okay? Now, I say that as a prelude to, well, I'm no longer the worst parker in the world. This guy is.
An unusual sight overhead in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. 6 stories up, the back end of a Mercedes poking through an outside wall of a parking garage. The scene drew a large crowd as firefighters worked to get the car back inside the garage. The driver told police he somehow got his foot stuck under the gas pedal, causing the car to zoom across the parking garage in reverse and slam into the outer wall. He wasn't hurt, but the Mercedes wasn't the only car that took a hit. Falling debris rained down onto several vehicles parked in a lot below. This car had most of its windows busted out. Myra Lopez, The Associated Press.
Park fail. Look, it's a credit to Mercedes, though, because I thought the car looked like it was in pretty good shape for having gone through a brick wall.
Yeah, that is true.
And apparently, if you need to, that Mercedes can go through a brick wall for you. Right? It's almost like an ad for the car, if you ask me.
Well, it's made by the Germans. You know the Germans make good stuff. That's in a Shammy or ShamWow commercial.
Oh, really?
Yeah, made by the Germans. You know the Germans make good stuff.
Well, the Germans are known for breaking through brick walls. That's true. And then finally, I like how I threw my wife under the bus in this.
Yeah, what the hell was that about? Yeah, Wendy's a terrible parker.
No, because we have debates at home as to who's the worst parker. Mm-hmm. Because she's hit like 78 cars in parking lot.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, we're a spazzy family. See, we're right for each other. But watch out for us in parking lots. Here come the Uyghurs. Get out the way, yo. Get out the way. But we're no longer the worst, so that's the upside. Go.
Okay, Oklahoma abortion story. This is a long story. Should we do it now?
All right, we'll take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right, we'll come back with abortions in Oklahoma, which are unfortunate. Young Turks.
Welcome back to the Young Turks. This is Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur with you.
All right, look, I was going through the tweets of the day, and there are a lot of good ones today.
Yep.
Today is a rich day, okay? Tom Schober writes in, I don't watch the mainstream media anymore. They aren't honest like the Young Turks. The TYT army is too strong. Of course. Who doesn't like Tom? And then La La Ma.
That guy's in France, by the way. I read his tweets all the time, yeah.
He's he's a frequent TYT tweeter.
Yes.
What's genuinely touching about the Young Turks is that they are 129% honest with their audience. I feel like I know and care about every one of them.
Aww,
who doesn't love that? Come on! And I love the random 129%.
Yeah, seriously.
It's funny that he's in France because the next guy, Fox Mental, wrote in that I should never do another French accent in my life.
I haven't heard your French accent.
Oh, you have not? Yeah, I was talking about Fabrice Tor.
That's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, oui. Yeah, they are sophisticated investors. See? Oh, well, then we screwed over Fox Mental because you just had me do another one. Mm-hmm. And then finally, Junkyard Monkey writes in that he says about the immigration story, imagine deporting the mothers and fathers of these conservatives because their grandparents happen to be illegal. Yeah, what happened then? And as many people have written in, the only people left, of course, would be the Native Americans, and then we'd have to deport everybody else's ass. The Mayflower was a boat full of illegal immigrants. Okay, so think about that. Go.
Okay. Oklahoma continues to go to extreme lengths to violate the reproductive rights of women. All right? They just passed 2 bills into law. The legislature in Oklahoma passed 2 bills into law that I can't even believe are constitutional. Well, they're not constitutional.
That's because they're not.
Right, exactly. Well, the first one is that women who want to get an abortion are forced to look at the ultrasound image and are forced to listen to a description of the fetus that the ultrasound technician gives her.
Now, apparently, about 20 states have a similar law, which is also egregious. But in this case, in Oklahoma, it has to be in their line of vision. Okay? They're like, here is the sonogram. You must look at it.
And the person performing the ultrasound is supposed to tell the woman about the fetus's limbs, heart, and other organs. How cruel is that? As if women go to get abortions because they think it's fun. That's the most difficult decision a woman has to make. And then you're going to go over there and you're going to judge the woman and you're going to make it even more difficult than it needs to be.
Now, believe it or not, I think the second part of the law is even worse.
Oh, of course. This is the most disgusting law. This is what they have to do. So the law prevents women from suing doctors from withholding information about potential birth defects. So if you're considering an abortion in Oklahoma, the doctor can withhold information about possible birth defects that your child could have.
So it actually, literally, it's so ironic because it literally gets in between you and your doctor, right? This is what the conservatives said they hated about healthcare reform. And they tell the doctor, hey, don't worry, you don't have to give your patient any information. And if you want to, their children has birth defects, no matter how significant, even if they might affect the health of the mom, the health of the baby, is it really going to be even come to full term, whatever? Who cares? Just hide that from the mom. Hide it from the patient.
And the mother cannot sue for that.
It's hideous. It's grotesque. And the reason that they're doing this is because they're encouraged by a Supreme Court decision in 2007 by the new right-wing Supreme Court. And they think, well, let's keep pushing the envelope and see how far we can take this thing. Because Samuel Alito joined the court. He replaced Sandra Day O'Connor, who was more moderate. She was conservative, but ruled on both sides from time to time and was a real moderate in that sense. She was one of the people who put Bush into office, so she wasn't progressive in any way, shape, or form. But she was reasonable in some cases, including the abortion case where there is a solid precedent. Now they're chipping away at that precedent, and all these new laws from all these different states are sometimes intended. Their creators say, hey, we want to do something that is really against your abortion rights so that it'll go up to the Supreme Court and the new right-wing court can say, yeah, you're right, let's just get rid of it. And the other part of this is that all those guys, Alito, Roberts, et cetera, during their confirmation process said, oh, no, we respect precedent and we wouldn't do judicial activism. And so they're very, especially on the abortion issue, it's very clear and they were on the record, et cetera. So what they try to do is, instead of just overturning Roe versus Wade, they reduce the precedent. Well, you could do this, and you could do that, and you could make them look at a sonogram, and you could make them do this, and then until at the end they go, well, at this point, I guess the precedent is that you don't have a right to an abortion. So then we change it. So that's the general plan.
If you're a woman, why would you want to live in Oklahoma? Obviously, the politicians there do not care about your health. They don't care about your rights. Why would you want to live in Oklahoma? It doesn't make any sense. Because if you have a child that has severe birth defects, right? If you're putting yourself in danger. They're putting these women's lives in danger because the doctors are withholding vital information about their condition. What if giving birth to this child is going to put your life at risk? What about the right to life there? Is that not important?
Now, the thing is, your doctor might not be doing it, but the problem with this law is that you don't know. You don't know which doctors are withholding the information and which ones aren't. So, and it totally destroys the trust that you have between you and your doctor. Mm-hmm. So it has many terrible consequences. And look, if you're born in Oklahoma, you live in Oklahoma, that's where your family is, that's why you're there, right? But you know what? It certainly gives you an incentive
to leave.
To leave. And so...
And by the way, another tidbit of information about Oklahoma. There are only 3 abortion clinics in the entire state. 3.
Now, I know it's not a very populous state. It's not one of our larger states, but 3 is tiny. So, yeah, I mean, they're not looking to help you out. That's certainly for sure.
And as always, these conservatives, they are rejecting information and they're rejecting fact, okay? If they looked at the studies, if they looked at information, and they looked at other states that are just as conservative with abortion laws, they'll see that women who want to get an abortion and don't have access to it legally will perform it illegally, okay?
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me of that. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Do you know how many women die of illegal abortions throughout the world? Not the U.S., but throughout the world, because abortions are illegal in a lot of countries, of course. 68,000 women die every year from illegal abortions. Okay? Now, it's a big world, but that's still a stark number. And so that's where this leads. And you know, and obviously if you do all these things to make illegal abortion not a viable option, and then people are going to start to have illegal abortions, and it gets to be a bigger and bigger mess.
Reminds me of Revolutionary Road, in the end.
Yeah, think about it.
Anyway.
Well, if you had Netflix and you had gotten a free trial membership through netflix.com/TYT, of course you could see Revolutionary Road anytime you like.
Right, that's true.
I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying. All right, what's next?
All right, in November, Californians will have the ability to vote on the Regulate, Control, and Tax Cannabis Act, which could decriminalize marijuana in California and could also tax and regulate it. Mm-hmm. So Alternet did a really interesting article about the different drug warrior spins on legalizing marijuana, and I love it. They laid out about 5 different marijuana myths and then proved them wrong.
Go.
All right, so I'm going to start with myth number 1. It's the drug warrior spin. Number 1, we would authorize another harmful substance in our society.
And we don't want to do that, you know. And that makes sense. So how's that a myth, Anna?
It's a myth because it's already a widely used recreational drug, okay? This is amazing. 1 in 10 Californians already use marijuana on a regular basis.
Except that I find that totally normal. I mean... if you live in California, first of all, over the last couple of years, there's like a pot shop in every corner now. Like before it was done, and then all of a sudden everybody's got like the green pots thing, and
right.
You know, Nirvana, come in here, get high, whatever.
Nature's remedy.
Right, exactly. So I'm not surprised by that, but this relates to one of the other things that you're going to mention. Netherlands, where it is legal, well, they smoke at half the rate that we do in America. So obviously making it legal doesn't make it more prevalent. In fact, it makes it less prevalent.
Right.
Go.
All right, drug warrior spin number 2. Regulation will cause marijuana consumption to skyrocket with addiction rates to match. And as you said, that is not true. With the Netherlands, addiction did not go up. I mean, you already said it. So.
Go.
Okay, so let's go to spin number 3. Regulating marijuana will aid drug cartels, which is absolutely untrue. The reason why drug cartels exist in the first place is because marijuana is illegal and people look for drug dealers to buy it.
Yeah, but that makes no sense. That's like a conservative that's just, okay, let's just pretend something is the exact opposite of what it is, right? But they made a really good point in there. And of course, I've seen this point 100 times, but it should stick better. I'm going to repeat it every time now. Why did we have Al Capone and the gangsters? It was because of prohibition. If you make something that people want illegal, it automatically leads to criminal enterprise, instantly. And that's why we had all those huge Chicago gangs, etc. And now we have these enormous drug gangs. Duh! It's because you're making something that is of tremendous demand into something that's illegal. So of course you're going to get the gangs. And you know me, that's my number one reason why I think we should legalize it. Is because the gang violence is out of control. And obviously, if you take away how they're making money, you're going to get a handle on that problem a hell of a lot better than we're doing it now. Like in Mexico, the government started a war with the gangs. How did that work out? How many people dead recently? 20,000 or so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
20,000 Mexicans died in the past 3 years because of prohibition.
Crazy. Crazy, man. All right.
All right. Drug warrior spin number 4. Regulating marijuana would cost society more than the taxes it generates, which is untrue. The Board of Equalization says that legalizing marijuana will generate $1.4 billion in revenue in California alone. Yeah. That is a significant amount of money.
Look, California, you want to solve your government problems? Legalize it. Let's get some tax out of it. Okay? People who sell pot want it legalized anyway. I mean, they want to be taxed. They're the only people in the world who want to be taxed. Have at it, Hoss. Make their day.
And also overturn Prop 13.
Yes, that's all. I was just interviewed about that today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been interviewed a lot today.
Tom sent me a really good article.
Oh, really? Yeah, Tom sent me the original Prop 13 article. I was all over it, man. Don't worry. I'll send you the clip. All right, go.
All right, and the final myth is, what kind of message does regulating marijuana send to kids? What's interesting about that is, first of all, half of all teenagers try marijuana, even after all the DARE programs, all the anti-drug programs that they're exposed to. Half of teens still try marijuana.
Well, one of the most retarded campaigns of all time was Just Say No. It's such a conservative thing, like, oh, that'll work.
Yeah.
Oh, just say no. It's so simple. Okay. Well, they're all doing it anyway. I don't know. Just say no. Okay. So, good point in the article is, look, kids now can get pot from anytime they want because the drug dealers don't check for ID. They have a lot easier time getting pot than they do alcohol, which is legal. So if you legalize pot, the kids would have a harder time getting it. Of course! Come on. These things are so obvious. So that's why, like, I get tired of debating with people that make no sense. Like, this is, I'm telling you, at this point, it's legalizing at least marijuana. I think all the drugs should be legal, but legalizing at least marijuana is a non-debate. It's a non-issue. It's an obvious case. But luckily, we're winning on this. It's not just California. Many states, well, first of all, a lot of states have gone to medical marijuana, and now California's thinking about legalizing it altogether.
You know what? But I'm kind of worried, because I'm worried that California is going to pull a Prop 8 with the marijuana issue. You think, oh, absolutely, we're going to legalize marijuana. Oh, absolutely, we're going to legalize gay marriage. And then all of a sudden, the conservatives come out of nowhere, and they go to the voting booths, and that's it. They pass Prop 8.
Well, it could be. See, that's, again, I was interviewed about California politics today. That's another discussion I had. The problem is that they'll design the prop in a way that both sides seem like they're on the side of pot, because they know that that's what people want, right? So the opposition will be like, oh, given that pot is like wonderful and the greatest thing ever, vote for us. Haha, it's illegal. Right? Because the props, you can't understand how they're written. They're all written in a way that are purposely confusing to mislead the voters. This California system is ridiculous. All right, listen, we got to take a break. We come back. Speaking of drugs, we have a famous celebrity who's telling us his crazy drug stories. Furthermore, I don't know why we're hiding the Tiger Woods story. No, I know we've done a lot of Tiger Woods stories, but this one has 2 amazing facts in it. Think about it. Come right back. Back on TYT.
Grandpa Jake is out of the loop on this song. Tom and Grandpa Tom, he always makes fun of this song, like on a daily basis.
Why?
Again, I'm exaggerating. Because she sounds like a little valley girl singing, and it's just a dumb song.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Member number 1922 is Sandra Beebe, joined up on November 24th of 2009. Sandra, much love. And we're going with Lieutenant Jacob Brogger. Lieutenant Brogger, it's great to have you at Rebel headquarters. All right. Today's post-game, JR's conspiracy theories. So that ought to be interesting. We're going to have that discussion.
I heard he's writing a book with Jesse Ventura.
And he's got run-ins with cops. He's got run-ins with a lot of people. That should be fascinating. Well, what did we do yesterday at the postgame? That was fun.
We did. Oh, I asked for advice on my.
On your personal issue.
My personal issue,
yeah,
yes.
that was interesting. What was your personal issue? What advice did we give? Fascinating. Okay, what's next?
All right, Robert Downey Jr. was a druggie at the age of 8.
Damn.
Yeah, like his father gave him drugs when he was 8 years old. He once did cocaine with his dad and Jack Nicholson. And he talks about how he accidentally got involved with heroin. I don't know how you accidentally get involved with it, but that's what he says. And that's it.
Well, he accidentally got involved with it in the middle of taking crack. So.
Oh, okay. I guess that's a little different.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. It made me have some sympathy towards him because I'm the only guy in America who doesn't like Robert Downey Jr. Like, I find him a little irritating when everybody else is like, oh my God, he's such a great actor, I love him. Yeah, look at that. I don't know. Every time, he's not my guy. I don't know. He rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, and I'm not saying that he's a bad guy. I just, for some reason, he irritates me. And now I feel a little bad for him because, look, if you got a crazy dick dad who's having you do coke with him at 8 years old, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to get addicted to drugs. So I feel bad for him about that. But then the other side of it is, just kind of as an aside, you wonder how do actors get to where they are? Some work really hard, they deserve it, la la la. Others were doing coke with Jack Nicholson when they were kids. And so, I mean, in some ways, he was set. Now, a lot of kids probably were doing coke with Jack Nicholson and they didn't become Robert Downey Jr., but boy, did he have a leg up, as did so many of the actors that are now so successful. That's where I feel like this fundamental sense of unfairness, which sucks. I know it's part of life. And why is it unfair? Because, hey, if your dad's a plumber and you're a plumber, okay, fine, right? But if your dad is connected or your mom is connected to the industry where you make a gigantic amount of money and then you also make a gigantic amount of money, well, that's where the unfairness comes into play, and it bothers me.
This almost sounds like an episode of or a game of Would You Rather, because I think it happens a lot. The Mackenzie Phillips thing we're talking about, when she had the surgery done because she was on celebrity rehab, it was a very similar story. She said her father, we all know the story about that, and her father shot her up when she was 11 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
So her first experience was her father giving her drugs. And as a kid, you're like, it's with your father. It's, it's hanging out, whatever. So it's almost, would you trade off having this celebrity lifestyle as a kid, which actually is unnatural, and then probably going into this life of drugs? Because Downey had his issues, man. He was almost done. He wasn't getting any more parts. He had his career was resurfaced after getting off all the drugs because they weren't going to deal with him anymore. So it's a matter of, he made all this money at 10, 11 years old, or then he was 18 or already had these many parts, but how fucked up was he in the head? What kind of drugs was he on? What was he addicted to? Was he almost going to die, No,
it's a good question, and I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't want that. I had a good, happy childhood, perfectly middle class, and I certainly wasn't like rich. I mean, I had a Buick Skyhawk that sometimes would lose power steering while taking a turn, which is not when you want to lose power steering. So, but I lived a great childhood, and I had fun, and we played ping pong, and my dad didn't shoot coke or heroin with me. I don't know, do you shoot coke? Anyway, so I wouldn't trade it, but at the same time, it makes me even doubly angry at the injustice, because this guy's like been a cokehead his whole life, and he's enormously successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, people busting their ass, doing everything right, and they don't get anything. And Robert Downey Jr., who's like, coke, heroin, crack, whatever, okay, give me more money. And he's a multi-millionaire.
That's why you just don't work that hard. Just enjoy life a little bit. We're all
I'm not sure that's the lesson you should get.
No. Let me tell you something. Here's something.
No.
Here's something that I learned. Okay, don't bust your ass off too hard. Because life is too short. No, it is. It is. Look.
No, it is.
Because 10...
It's not the lesson I want you learning.
All right. 9 out of 10 times, if you are middle class and you bust your ass off because you have this dream of being rich, you're not going to become rich, and you're going to bust your ass off for nothing.
All right.
Like, that's the way I see it.
I'm getting two things out of this. Number one, we've randomly become an enormously pessimistic show, okay, which I do not support this. Remember, I'm long-term optimistic. I think that's totally wrong. Okay. Number two, what's with the new phrase, bust your ass off? Is that, I mean, did you just make that up, or am I missing?
No, I didn't make that up.
Like, it's bust your ass, right? Where's the bust your ass off? That's the part I'm missing, right?
What is
She
this?
made it up.
What is this hip-hop music these kids are listening to?
I know, wait, hold on. Somebody regulate here, JR. Okay, is she making that up, or am I late to this game?
I didn't want to put her on blast, but I'd never heard of it. But
Bust your ass off.
No,
I'm old though. Maybe this is new. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think she just made it up. Look, I need you to not bust your ass off, okay? Keep your ass on.
Let's get to some stories.
No, hold up. One last thing on this, okay? Or two last things. All right. One just quick aside on Robert Downey Jr. That dude got fucked up in jail, okay? Because, again, this time he mentioned, he's like, oh, well, in jail, when the door clicks shut, then you're safe. You're actually in the safest place on earth, safe from the intruders, meaning his jail cell, right? Who were the intruders coming? I don't know if he's talking about drugs. I don't know if he's talking about dudes. Like, because when they asked him, when he got out of jail, how was jail? He's like, things that happened to me, I can never say, should have never happened to any human being.
Oh, my
I was
God.
like, whoa, did that guy get raped? Okay, I have no idea, but God, I mean, it sounded like whatever happened was like hideous. Okay, now, but I can't let you go without regulating on your pessimistic comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, look, I went to school, average kid with a Buick Skyhawk, roughly speaking, okay, but we were a little more, we were upper middle class, okay, like my dad was able to pay for my education. That's huge, huge, huge. So I had a huge benefit, okay, so I don't want to make it seem like, you know, that it was all my doing, not in the least bit. But I worked hard, and I got good grades, and I snuck into a good school, okay? And in that school, those kids that I went to school with now, they're the bankers that are robbing everybody, okay? You can make it in America. Now, unfortunately, it turns out that there's, like, one of them his brother got arrested. He's up on fraud charges, okay? But the guy I went to school with just came out, got a job, like I could have gotten that job, and wound up making a sick amount of money.
You're not making me more optimistic. So basically, if you want to make it in America, you have to rob others. Otherwise, don't bother working hard to have a decent, honest job, because you're never going to be rich that way.
Well,
That's the way I see it.
Well,
So
no, look. This is almost too much. We got to kick this over the post game. But of course, finance industry makes more money, right? And it sucks. It's a reality of life, but it's true. So all the guys who went into finance, a guy I used to play rugby with, turns out he's the one that decided, hey, you know what? All these mortgages suck, okay? And it's time to short them. And he convinced Deutsche Bank, who he worked for, to short all the stocks, okay? They made $2 billion on his call. He wound up with $47 million bonus, okay? And then he sued, he left the company. I think he might have even sued because he thought that bonus was too low. Okay.
You're not making me feel better.
Okay.
So,
All right, now I'm going to kick the rest of that conversation over to the post game because his story is a really interesting one. But for the purposes of this, he's a guy from, I think he's from Pennsylvania, but I'm not sure. He's just a regular guy. Went to a good school, got a job in finance, made the right call, walked away with $47 million. All right, the rest of that conversation in the post game, okay? I'll try to calm Anna down. But it can be you.
all right, the National Enquirer is reporting that Tiger Woods had sex with 121 women. Okay, it was previously thought that he had sex with 120, but it turns out that he slept with his neighbor's daughter, a 21-year-old by the name of Rachel. Go ahead, Jake.
All right, now apparently in sex addiction therapy, Tiger admitted that he'd slept with 120 women while married. Now, first of all, that's not cool that somebody leaked that. But National Enquirer lately has been right about their stories. That's why I'm giving them more credence. But he didn't admit the daughter of the neighbor, which put him in trouble, right? And apparently his wife was very mad about the daughter situation. Now, she's 21. She wasn't like, I don't want people thinking she was underage or anything like that. Just, and I'm sure a lot of the other girls he slept with were also 21. It just, she happened to be the neighbor's daughter, so that didn't sit well. Now, so that's amazing story number one, okay? 121 mistresses. Now, having said that, you get that. The other thing that comes out of that is give about 100 of those mistresses a lot of credit because they didn't come out. You know, we got about 10 to 20 of them that came out, but apparently there's another 100 who are like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to sell out and tell everybody that I had sex with Tiger Woods to try to get money. So whoever you are out there, I'm giving you credit, okay? Now, the real interesting part of the story. They're saying his wife, who's going to divorce him, is asking for $500 million.
Get it, girl.
$500 million. Now, it's unconscionable. It's absurd. It's beyond absurd. Now, here's the thing, right? Some people make the argument, no, you don't understand, Jank. She helped to sell products for him, and that's how he makes most of his money, by giving this good family image, et cetera, et cetera. But she's now divorcing him, so there goes the family image that she was theoretically providing. So there's some irony in that. So she should get money for ruining the family image? Now, look,
no,
don't get me wrong.
She's ruining the family image?
No.
Please.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me
Please.
wrong. He's the one at fault. Obviously, I get that, right? He's the one that slept with 121 other women while married to her, right? I'm not blaming her, right? But I'm addressing the argument of that she deserves half of his money because she created this great family image. But that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, he screwed it up, and now she's divorcing him, rightfully so. But that her theoretical addition to making money is gone, right? And besides which, almost anyone could have filled that role. Tiger has the $1 billion because he's the best in the world at golfing. Right or wrong, that's the reality. But almost anyone could have done what she did. You just had to be a relatively calm wife who didn't cause trouble and, you know, would go to events and be like, oh, and pose with the baby and Tiger for a magazine cover. That ain't worth $500 million. There's something wrong in our system. She had almost nothing to do with making that money. I can't have it. No matter how wrong he is, no matter how guilty he is, no matter how many bitches he had sex with, I can't do it. I can't give her $500 million. I mean, look, you know what? $5 million. Go crazy.
She has 2 of his kids. How much do you think she should get?
Look, my old rule is $10 million is your cap. If you can't live and raise kids on $10 million, there's something wrong with you, okay? So now if you married a really rich dude, now that cap gets lifted if your marriage, according to the Jank rules, if your marriage lasted, I don't know, 25, 30, so let's say 25 years.
Let me ask you something about
that.
Okay,
so because then you really built the marriage together, you built the relationship, you built the career together, okay, then we're having a different conversation. But you're married to him for a couple of years and you can grab $500 million off his ass? No, I'm capping you at $10 million. I'm sorry. That's what's happening, okay?
Okay, but how do you know that it wouldn't last 25 years if this mistress didn't come out, if this Rachel Uchitel or Yucatel, whatever, information didn't come out? How do you know how long it would last? It didn't end after a couple of years because she wanted it to happen that way.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's not about who's at fault, okay? It's about, did she actually make $500 million for the family? And there's no way that she did. You're kidding yourself if you think so. The only people who are going to say that she deserves the $500 million are going to be women who think, yeah, like you said, get it. Okay, and I know you were partly kidding, right?
Yeah, look, I think $500 million is an insane amount of money. I think that's a crazy settlement, okay? I don't agree with it at all. The $10 million cap, I don't agree with that either. I think it's too low.
All right. Well, we can have a conversation about that, but you tell us what you think the right cap is. But I know it ain't $500 million. And I know the people saying she should get $500 million are the people who are looking for retribution, who are thinking, you know what? I remember when my man cheated on me.
Yeah.
If he had $1 billion, you better believe I'd take $500 million, right? And it's just not right. All right. We've regulated on this. It's over. Okay. What's next?
All right, a couple months ago we talked about Constance McMillan. She is a senior at the Itawamba Agricultural High School, and she was told that she couldn't go to her high school prom with her girlfriend. She couldn't wear a tuxedo. With the help of the ACLU, she sued the school, and they said, okay, fine, you can go to this prom. She was sent to a decoy prom that only had a handful of people there. Anyway, the Westboro Baptist Church, the most disgusting church in the United States, found out about this and they decided, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go picket her graduation and we're going to tell her that God hates fags.
Aye.
And if you remember these people, these are the people that went and picketed at a soldier's funeral because the soldier was homosexual and they had signs that read...
No. These guys are crazy. The soldiers aren't gay. They picket at their funerals anyway, because they say the government helps gay people, and if the soldiers fight for gays, then they're all fags.
The soldiers weren't even gay?
No, these guys are
wow.
horrendous people. I mean, if they were gay, it would be equally horrendous.
Yeah, it would be equally
But it's
horrendous.
just a little bit more irrational. Let's just put it that way. At least their weird hatred is directed at such a random target.
Right, of course.
And they go to a lot of the funerals. Bill O'Reilly, to his credit, is chipping in money for one of the dads, the military dads, to sue him.
That's great. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's the one good thing Bill O'Reilly's done.
Michael Smerconish is against these people, too.
Oh.
Anyway.
Don't get me started on Smircon.
He's not that bad of a guy.
No, he's actually turns out to be a little bit moderate. Oops.
He's extremely moderate. He's an independent. He's not even Republican.
Yeah, he just said that. Do you guys all know my beef with Smirconish?
No, can you explain it, please? Because you kind of did, but I don't know the details, and I'm dying to know now.
Okay, that's in the postgame.
Postgame.
Smirconish beef postgame.
Okay.
Okay, I got to take notes on all the things we're going to talk about in the postgame.
I know, seriously.
All right. Look, I want to do one last story here.
What?
I'm going to save that one later. We got a crazy story for you tomorrow. Okay. Sports story. Guy named Dez Bryant is now a wide receiver for the Cowboys. He was drafted in the first round. Before he got drafted, he went and talked to a lot of different teams, which is perfectly normal. And one of the teams was Dolphins. Dolphins GM Jeff Ireland apparently asked him an interesting question. The question was, is your mom a whore? What? Are you kidding me? And he says, well, look, the context of the story is that, apparently his mom had a criminal past, if I've got that right, and JR, you tell me. And so he was just naturally wondering, was she a prostitute? You don't ask a guy that question. That's crazy, right? Now, but what's even crazier is now people are defending the GM. Now, he's, of course, apologized because that's crazy talk, right? But Matt Millen, for example, the world's worst GM, actually is in competition with Isaiah Thomas. He's definitely the worst GM in NFL history. But for overall sports, probably Isaiah and him are in a tie. Came out and said, well, that's perfectly normal. You're just, you got to ask these questions to find out about a guy's background. No, you don't ask somebody if their mom's a whore. It's crazy. And it's, of course, obviously over the line. Even Mike Ditka is saying it's way over the line. And then some others are claiming, oh, no. You want to see how he reacts in the heat of the moment. How's he going to react when in the field when somebody says something about his mama? That's not what the general manager of a team is supposed to be doing when interviewing the guy about picking him in the draft or not. This is totally ridiculous. JR.
Yeah, it was another part of what Millen was saying, as I heard it this morning when he was just on the morning sports center. And then there's Chris McKendry, the anchor, she was asking him about it. And she kept asking, after he said something, she was kind of baffled. She was like, well, you don't see how that's offensive? Like, she was trying to figure a way to get him to understand what the hell he's saying. And he was like, oh, exactly the whole field thing. He said, this is basically like a job interview. They want to see if you're hit with something that you're unexpected in a stressful situation, someone's talking about you, there's going to be worse things people are going to say on the football field. This is a totally different thing. And I was like,
but wait a minute. According to that logic, couldn't you ask him anything? Is your mom a whore? No. How about a slut? Is she a slut? How did she do something last night? What did she do? Who was she with? I mean, what can't you ask him under that dumbass rationalization?
Yeah, this is one of those things where his point, at least, was you have to have this level of professionalism. They want to make sure that if you have this hothead and you're going to fly out the handle, if it's the end of a game and you're getting all mad, you might just sock a guy and get a 15-yard penalty. Now, if you're in an interview, they keep saying this is the equivalent of a job interview, the biggest job interview of your life. If you go into a job interview, you're not expected to say something like this to someone. It's a professional atmosphere. They like to present the NFL owners and the GMs and all the executives as these class people. Remember the guy from the Titans, the owner got fined for like $500,000 almost, something like that, for flicking off fans in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside of the bounds, right? Or it's just football. It's football, man. I can say fuck you all I want. This is a job interview. I'm not going to invest millions of dollars in you. This is so lame. I think anybody who is out defending this should get suspended just for saying that. I think Matt Millen shouldn't be on ESPN anymore. He's an idiot. And the thing is, he's a pretty good analyst when he's talking about football, not life things like this.
Yeah, no. It's a claim that it is somehow more professional to ask in the middle of an interview if someone's mom's a prostitute. It turns logic on its head. Oh, well, you got to react under stress. So do lawyers. So do so many other professions. Can you imagine you walk into a legal interview and they're like, is your mom a hooker? Was she a harlot? Is that what she was? Well, I'm just trying to test how you'd react under the stress of court. No, that would be unbelievable, totally unacceptable. And it's totally unacceptable in the NFL. Jared, what was it about his mom that triggered this in the first place, theoretically?
No, well, the thing is, she had some kind of legal issues. She was in and out of jail, is what they say, when he was growing up. So his mother had issues when he was growing up. I don't know where the level of prostitution came into his mind. Maybe he was just, and he was in his apology, in the Dolphins GM's apology, he was just kind of saying, you know, I did it inappropriately, but there's things I have to ask in interviews, and I took the wrong approach on that one.
Well, we have it on tape. I don't know why you're.
Oh my God, I am totally sorry for that.
Yeah, so the other wrinkle in the question is they're wondering if the NFL, because of course the NFLPA, they came out very upset about it. That's given. But if the NFL should take any action with this guy, and I don't think they should. I don't think this is something that has anything to do with the whole league focus on this guy in a question that was asked in an interview. But say this guy did jump up and hit him, or, you know, shove him, anything, any kind of physical altercation happened because of this question, which is what the defenders of this is saying he was looking to test, then this guy's going to be seen as a horrible person. Des Bryant.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, he is a hothead. Oh, he has a
And that would have cost him millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Because he would have dropped lower in the draft, et cetera, et cetera. No, it's terrible. Look, if I'm the owner of the Dolphins, I want to set I'd suspend him for a couple of weeks at least. I mean, because you can't just. I mean, it's unprofessional. No, if you'd suspend him if he was a partner at a law firm asking questions like this. No, you can't have it. Finally, we do have a clip on this, so let's go to clip number 4 because it's Mike Florio, and he's got some questionable things to say about this too.
The other side of the coin, though, is that I don't think that Jeff Ireland was asking that question to find out the answer to the question. I don't think he cares about the answer to the question. I think the goal was to strip away the influence of the consultants and the handlers and the people who get these guys ready for the pre-draft interviews and get through to the real man and find out how he reacts under stressful situations. There's almost a drill sergeant mentality, and I've heard Aaron Curry, the Seahawks linebacker, he told me last year at the scouting combine the Saints had a guy who was acting like a drill sergeant and getting in guys' faces and challenging them. You want to see how a guy's going to react under stress because when you're in a game, you're going to be under stress. And if you are driving 4 points down with 2 minutes left and the guy lined up across from you asks the question that Jeff Ireland asked and you punch him in the mouth and you get a 15-yard penalty, that's not a good outcome. And I think that's where if you're going to defend in any way, and I'm not defending what he did. I can understand, though, why they would want to see how a guy acts under stress based upon what happens at one of these interviews.
Yeah, no, you are defending what happened. And it's absurd because it's one thing if you got a drill sergeant kind of guy on the field. It's another thing when you're getting interviewed by the general manager. And then finally, I love his initial part where he's like, well, it's not that he cared about the answer to the question. I hope not. What was he going to do? Oh, is your mom a hooker? Is she available? I mean, how could you care about the answer to the question? All right. That's it for today. Post-game, chock full of craziness. JR's conspiracy theories and all the other things we promised. Young Turks.